National Military Park. Okay, this top one is the British model 1853 Enfield rifle. The second one is the 1850s model Belgian rifle. And this third one is the U.S. model 1841 Mississippi rifle. And these Colt revolvers, 1851 Colt Navy revolvers. General Van Dorn was killed 14 months after the battle by a jealous husband, and men no longer trust him after the Battle of Pea Ridge. Half of this army were native-born Americans from the farms and small towns in the Midwest. The other half were recent immigrants, mostly German speakers from St. Louis. Their public relations-minded leader, Franz Sigel, had expected to lead the army. Sigel resigned in anger when General Curtis got the job instead. Curtis had to balance his German-American divisions carefully to avoid political, ethnic strife. So Curtis Spooker with H-56 there, West Point class of 1831. And there's Franz Sigel. Native from Germany.
I mean, honestly, was some of the guys that I being at regional manager.
Well, yeah, because they don't have to work.
Right. So constantly, they were looking over their shoulder, you know, all the time. And then, of course, then if a regional manager started leaning on them, they would come down and say,
1841, 12-pound mountain howitzer.
you know, when somebody probably doesn't have time to try this manager is coming in. So they didn't know that, you know, they weren't evil or dishonest or anything. They just didn't know. But the thing is there was just, you know, there was no fight. And so I understand that. The nature of that beast.
Oh, yeah, that's the nature of it. Yeah, I agree.
No, it's just the way it is. And don't get me wrong, I'm not.
Okay, so now I'm leaving the visitor center and I'm heading on the 7-mile loop. There are 7 stops, actually 8 stops. But the Trail of Tears. Okay, so this is the first stop, Trail of Tears. The shallow depressions in front of you are remnants of the original Telegraph Road traveled by thousands of Cherokees and other American Indians in the winter of 1838 to 1839 during their forced removal from their homelands. It was then called the Wire Road because of the telegraph lines that lined the road and linked the nation. It was the route of the Butterfield Overland Stage Line from 1857 to 1861. Both armies used the road in the Pea Ridge campaign. Oh my goodness. Oh. Thorns everywhere, bugs. And I'm sure there's snakes. I don't even want to. Oh. It's terrible. Did you see the trail? Still, after all these years. Oh, wow. Let me read it out of the brochure again. Because now that I'm on it, it's a lot different. It's so, wow. The shallow depressions in front of you are remnants of the original Telegraph Road. This is the Telegraph Road and the Trail of Tears, traveled by thousands of Cherokees and other American Indians in the winter of 1838 to 1839. During their forced removal from their lands, it was then called Wire Road because of the telegraph lines that lined the road and linked the nation. It was the route of the Butterfield Overland stage from 1857 to 1861. And both the Union and the Confederates also used this road in the Pea Ridge battle or campaign. So we had Native Indians, American Indians coming through here. We had the Telegraph Road coming through here. And we had the Civil War, both sides. I can't imagine what it was like for any of them. Because right now I have to go back to the car because these bugs are out of control. Oh my goodness. Trail of Tears. Trail of Tears. At the Pearidge military site. Stop number 1. Telegraph Road, also known as Wire Road. Used by both armies in the Civil War. So if we would have kept on going for 60 miles, we would have landed in Oklahoma, Westville, Oklahoma. If we would have went to the right, we would have landed in Charleston, Tennessee, 720 miles later. So General Curtis's headquarters site, the Union commander Samuel R. Curtis located his headquarters in this vicinity just before the battle. Curtis believed that any Confederate attack would come 2 miles south of here against his fortified line along the bluffs overlooking Little Sugar Creek. From this spot, Curtis orchestrated the movements of his army. So this is where they strategized. Definitely wouldn't want to be out here at night. It's a little creepy. So this is stop 3. I just passed a road that was blocked off, I think. I don't know if that was stop 3 and we don't get a stop today, and I hope not because that was Leetown. And Leetown is where it was a small village where the first cousin of Robert E. Lee lived. And he was a farmer, and him and his wife Martha, John and Martha Lee, it was called Leetown. And right before the battle, Martha brought her black horse into the kitchen. Said she just couldn't bear to have her horse killed or stolen or anything. So they lived in the kitchen for a few days with the horse. I thought that was pretty awesome. I was hoping to see their house as a hospital. It's a field house. Also, the Trail of Tears is along here, and Telegraph Road. Kind of intersects. It's hard to tell while you're on it. Oh, right here is a little trail sign, so must be right there. We're around this area. See there? There's a little trail marker sign. So I guess we're gonna see stop 4. It's hard to tell on the map. I hope we didn't miss 3, but it's not looking good. Wow, look at this. Soldiers marched, you know, Native people were removed from their lands along this route. The telegraph came through. Oh, let's see this. Oh, stop 3. So this is Leetown. Oh, good. Oh, good. Oh, we get to see Leetown. We didn't miss it. I'm so glad. Okay, so this is where Leetown was. A village full of wounded men. Entering a little clearing, we discover the yellow hospital flags fluttering from the gables of every house in the hamlet of Leetown, and the surgeons busy with the sad yet humane task that was theirs to perform. This small village stood a short distance southwest of the parking lot. The wounded of both sides were brought here, so the Union and the Confederate soldiers were brought to this area, where buildings and tents served as hospitals. Visible evidence that the village is gone, so there was nothing left. And like I was saying earlier, this is called Leetown because the first cousin of Robert E. Lee was here. This was his land, and he farmed it with his family. And the family moved out when the war was coming, and when they knew the war was coming. And that day, on March 7th, according to sources I saw online, around 10:30 in the morning, John and Martha Lee, so it was Robert E. Lee's cousin's wife, brought their horse into the house, into the kitchen, and they stayed in there. And apparently their house wasn't really big either. I mean, I don't think it was big enough to live comfortably with a horse, but she did not want to leave her horse, so it would not be harmed and would not be stolen. This is Leetown. The bugs are horrendous. I should have brought some spray. I didn't know it was going to be this bad. But we're here. We have to march on. as others before us. This small hamlet near here included 2 stores, a blacksmith shop, a Masonic hall. So a Masonic hall was here. See, I think this is the Telegraph Road. School and several residences. During the fighting, some of the buildings were used by the Union Army as hospitals. See, that says Union Army. So maybe, I don't know if this is Telegraph Road. It's so confusing when you're right here. Trees. Leetown. Definitely a ghost village, ghost town. No longer. Cousin of Robert E. Lee farmed this land. Okay, so now I'm leaving stop 3, which is Leetown. It's where Robert E. Lee's cousin, John, and Martha lived. And the whole little town here. And a Masonic hall, by the way. It's really crazy in the 1860s. And here we go. So the next stop is stop 4, which is Leetown Battlefield. So just right outside here is where they were actually battling, and that was the hospital area, and they burned everything down apparently. Bushwhackers came after the war, if I remember correctly. There's a lot of information to remember. A lot of things happened. So many different things going on during this war. Leetown Road, it says. So that's the road. What? To the left of me and back is where we were. So I guess I'm just really confused. So is Leetown Road the same? I think that's the same as a Telegraph Road. They all kind of intertwine, and I know they all were using the same road there for a little bit. That's maybe where they came for the battle. It's so spooky. Oh yeah. Okay, so here's the 4th. Oh, we have cannons. Oh, this is what I saw from the road. Yeah. So this is the Leetown battlefield. Okay, so stop 4 on this loop road, Leetown battlefield. The Confederate attack through the woods north of this field and across the Tour Road to the east failed to defeat the Federals deployed along the south fence line. 2 Confederate generals, Ben McCulloch and James McIntosh, were killed near the field's north boundary. So they were killed here. stand to your posts. Officers and men, you have it in your power to make or prevent another Bull Run affair. I want every man to stand to his post. Turn back, they'll give you hell, some troopers shouted as they sped by the infantrymen moving into the line of battle. Two predominantly German-speaking regiments, one from Missouri and one from Illinois, would have to stand and fight here without flinching. If they broke and ran, Pea Ridge would become as infamous as the July 1861 Union disaster at Bull Run near Washington, D.C. because they went running. And several of them still did run, according to what I've read, but then there was a smaller group that stood their ground. Leetown Battlefield, March 7th, 1862, March 8th, 1862. Okay, we're approaching stop 5, Armies Collide. Two armies collide. Imagine 7,000 Confederate troops crowded in close order along Ford Road, the lane you see on the right edge of this field as they trudge east towards Elkhorn Tavern. Wow. A small Union force of Iowa cavalrymen, only 600 men, unexpectedly appeared from the thick belt of trees you see on the left. Neither force expected to fight here. So they came out of those trees and ambushed them. Pearidge was the only major Civil War battle in which Indian troops participated. Two regiments of Cherokees of about 1,000 men fought for the Confederate Army and routed 2 companies of Union cavalry. Union cannon fire eventually forced them to take cover in the woods. The Cherokee regiments were held in reserve throughout the remainder of the battle. So now we're approaching stop 6, which is the West Overlook. Pearidge West. "11 miles to Bentonville, 4 miles to Pea Ridge." Ages ago, this was a plateau. Long erosion left the hill and ridge capped with resistant sandstone. They became landmarks of a battlefield. 10 miles to Rogers. 29 miles to Fayetteville. West Overlook. From here, the Boston Mountains are visible on the southern horizon. Bentonville, Arkansas, from which the Confederates advanced to Pea Ridge, is 14 miles to the west. Oh, it's so beautiful. So now we are heading to stop 7. You see the birds? I can't see them through the... There they are. Okay, so now we're walking to the East Overlook. It's at 464 feet, although the sign back there said 2 miles. I don't know what that was about, but here we go. East Overlook. Here, about 150 yards down the path, is the best view of the battlefield in the park. Exhibit panels in the shelter explain the fighting that took place in the fields below. So I guess we're going to see that in a minute. There's a really large bird up there. Can you see it? Looks like a buzzard. Kind of scaring me. Like, don't come around here. Or is that an eagle? I can't really tell. I definitely don't know my birds. I don't think so. Eagles are much prettier than that, right? Okay, so here's the battlefield. Great view. Oh, wow. Oh, look at that. Slaughter in the rocks. Below you, here stand 30-foot tall columns of stone. Bone-tired Confederates of the 2nd Missouri Brigade took shelter amid these rocky dens after the first day's hard marching and fighting. What at first seemed like a good natural defense became a death trap. As the second day's fighting began, 21 Union Canyon and Cox Fields below fired a punishing barrage towards this mountainside, a hurricane of artillery, projectiles, rock fragments. See it right there? Hurricane of artillery, projectiles, rock fragments, and timber splinters tore through the infantrymen posted near here. After 30 minutes of slaughter, General Earl Van Dorn ordered a withdrawal back towards Elkhorn Tavern. Oh, man. There's a lizard down there. It was the grandest thing I ever saw. It was extremely rare in the Civil War to be able to see an entire army lined up for a fight with all their regiments within sight of each other. Had you stood here on March 8, 1862, you could have seen 10,000 Union men in battle lines stretching for a mile over the open fields below. It was a sight that few veterans of the Battle of Pea Ridge ever forgot. I can imagine. So sad. The families who lived outside Leetown, Arkansas, first heard shots fired on the far side of the Little Mountains. The low wooded rise you see to the right, half of the Confederate Army of the West was marching eastward on Ford Road, moving this way. To delay their link-up with the other half of the Confederate Army nearing Elkhorn Tavern, a small Federal force opened fire across the fields of Wiley Foster's farm. The fighting intensified as Texas and Arkansas regiments moved south from Foster's farm to Samuel Orbison's wide cornfield. Later in the afternoon, the action bogged down in a thick 100-acre woods belonging to Elizabeth Morgan. As darkness fell, the Confederates near Leetown pulled back, marching behind Big Mountain, where you now stand, to rejoin their commander on the Telegraph Road. I mean, I don't know. If you guys know what that is, comment below. He didn't move. Head does look a little white. It's the beak. Okay, so now we're heading to stop 8. I thought there were only 8 stops, but it looks like there are 11. Okay, we're at Elkhorn Tavern, stop 8. So this area was used as a hospital as well. So this is the original house. Looks like cabbage. General James McIntosh of Arkansas. The brave Confederate dead who fell on this field, 1862, March 6th, 7th, and 8th. General W.Y. Slack of Missouri. General Ben McCullough of Texas. Major General E. Van Dorn, Army of the Southwest. Every united solidarity. The blue and the gray. Major General S.R. Curtis, Army of the Southwest. Elkhorn Tavern. See the Elkhorns? There's the road, Telegraph Road. It's called different names. Let's walk on it a little bit. Also the Trail of Tears, also called the Old Wire Road. Butterfield Overland, the Stagecoach Road. And then troops from both sides of the Civil War came out here. It took 2 weeks for the stunned survivors of the Confederate Army of the West to make their way from here back to the rendezvous on the Arkansas River. In March 1862, General Van Dorn was ordered to take his army east to Mississippi. This left northern Arkansas in the hands of the Union. Our regiment arrived in staggering squads, tired, hatless, barefooted, hungry, dirty, and ragged. They had been in rainstorms, climbed steep mountains along narrow and rugged footpaths, waded deep in cold mountain streams, starved, slept without tents or blankets on the wet and frosty ground. The retreat was more disastrous than a dozen battles. That was a William Tunnard, Private 3rd Louisiana Infantry Regiment. It's a reconstruction of Elkhorn Tavern. On Telegraph Road, Trail of Tears, Butterfield Overland, Stagecoach Route, the road that brought both troops, the Confederate and the Union soldiers, to the war here at Pea Ridge, the Battle of Pea Ridge. So this was a hospital. Oh wow. I don't know if we can peek in the window. Oh. Alright guys. It's not very big. Oh, we can see. It doesn't even seem big enough for a tavern, let alone. Telegraph Road. Elkhorn Tavern. Pearidge Battle Site, Pearidge, Arkansas, May 17th, 2024. Okay, I was wrong. I think this is the road. So what was that over there? Beautiful. Are they mating? Or getting ready to? Okay, so this is Telegraph Road. Yes. I don't know what that was that I was walking on, but this is obviously the road. Telegraph Road, Butterfields, Overlands, and I guess this is where the troops marched through. And the Trail of Tears. I believe that's what this is. I don't know what road that other. Maybe it winds that way. City signs. There was a lot to the Civil War, a lot to remember and a lot to learn and a lot to know. That butterfly's just dancing over there. So many butterflies. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it comes here and then goes in front of the tavern and then over to the right, I believe, along that fence line. I do see someone coming on a bicycle, so it could be a bike trail. I need to look at the map. But I'm really tired, and this concludes our Pea Ridge battlefield site tour. It's been a great day. Learned a lot of sadness, and I'm not sure if there was really good reason. Maybe they could have figured something out without all that bloodshed. I hope our country learned from that.